Hello, welcome to the new channel, TheConsoleKoala, and today, keep those sideways so you can't see them yet. I don't know what's going to go up on my setup yet, but today we're talking PlayStation. I thought the first video on the channel, we're going to go nostalgia. We're going to talk about some hidden gems on the PlayStation 1 that I think were overlooked at the time or haven't been shown as much love since the days of the PlayStation 1 as much as, say, Crash or Spyro. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to splice some footage in probably. And blasphemy, I know, the first game I've got coming up is actually a film tie-in game. And I know what you're thinking, you're just like, blasphemy, that's because if you're like me, generation of the PS1, the PS2, they were just littered with actual cash grabs of movie tie-in games. But this one was brilliant. This one I have a lot of memories of, which I'm going to go into. This is Chicken Run for the PlayStation 1. I'm using natural light today, so there's a bit of shine. But this was essentially baby's first Metal Gear Solid. And now I know it's sacrilege. You're going to tell me when I tell you I did not play Metal Gear Solid back when it was in its heyday. But I have played it about 10 years ago. I downloaded it on the PSN on my PlayStation 3. And since then I've completed it, obviously. And I have paid my dues to that series and a few of those games. So don't shoot me down too much, but Chicken Run, it was essentially, you had your stealth elements, but you also had your action scenes. I think my favourite scene from the game, or my favourite level from the game, was the level that recreated when Rocky Road, the rooster there, he goes into the pie making machine and saves Ginger, which is a big scene from the film. There's a lot of platforming, that section. And that's probably the biggest memory I have from gameplay from that. And I also love the fact the title screen, so much charm in this game. They didn't need it to be that good. It was just a film tie-in. But the title screen for this game is not just simple text rolling down. You've got an actual, the actual barracks from the rooster. His name evades me. But the actual barracks for the rooster there. And you can move around. It's a lot like other games of the time, like Banjo-Kazooie did it as well. And it reeks of charm. And it just comes through that they actually cared about what they were doing with this game. And I also have a memory, this shows how long ago it is. I had a friend who lived on the same street as me. And he used to actually rent games from the local video stores a couple of streets away. And he used to rent them on a Friday night and take them back on a Sunday afternoon. It was about £5 for 2 games. At time that back then, and Chicken Run he got on several occasions, and he actually ended up buying the game eventually. So I didn't play it much when I was a kid. I played it more as an adult when I actually got my own copy. But there's Chicken Run, which I've got loads of memories of, and that's just the first of many hidden gems. And what I miss, I'm going to bring this up now while I'm here. I just miss manuals. You know, I'll have to do a video of like my top 10 manuals. Voodoo Vince for the original Xbox, definitely one of the best manuals I've seen. The artwork on that is phenomenal. But that's Chicken Run, and that is number 1 of my games today on my hidden gems list. So we'll move on to the next one. I'll keep them like this so I can display them on the top. Now this is another movie tie-in, and don't adjust your sets. This is Disney Pixar's A Bug's Life, and this game is amazing. I mean, the graphics for I'll show you on here, but I'll show you gameplay as well. The graphics of Flick haven't aged well, but the actual graphics of the levels, it reminds me of when Halo 1 came out on the Xbox. I'm going to diverse for a minute, and people used to say, "Oh, look at the graphics of that grass," and it was flat, but it kind of had detail, and that's what the rocks on this game remind me of when I look back at A Bug's Life today. It reminds me of how people used to just go, "Oh, look at that grass on Halo." It's like, look at the rocks on Bug's Life, and that was a whole generation before. But I've got a memory from this game. I played it a little bit on the N64, came on the N64 as well, and the PlayStation 1 version I never actually played as a kid, but my brother got the PlayStation magazine, and it came with demo discs from time to time, and you had like 6 to 10 games or trailer previews of games, and I played A Bug's Life level 1 more times than I probably care to remember, but that's the biggest memory I have from this game as a child. And the N64 version I told you about that I played wasn't actually mine, it was a friend of mine. And to be fair, they were very similar. There wasn't one was like loads better than the other, but that's a bug's life, and I'd recommend that. That Disney did a lot of scorching games back then. On the Mega Drive, especially, Genesis, if you're in North America. They also did it on the Sony PlayStation, things like The Lion King, Aladdin on Mega Drive. That is one of my favourite games. That's probably my favourite platformer on the system, other than Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, sticking with Disney, this is a game I did not come across until COVID, the first lockdown, March, April time, 2020, 2 years ago, because I'm a big fan of Disneyland Connect Adventures on the Xbox, and I was searching for other games to do with the Walt Disney Parks, and this is Walt Disney World Magical Racing Tour, and it is actually based in Walt Disney World. There's so much I can say about this game. There's a port on the PC. In fact, as with Chicken Run, and I forgot to mention, there's a port on the PC of this game, although old PlayStation games, old PC games, sorry, don't seem to run well on new PC. But also, just like with Chicken Run, I forgot to mention, there is a Dreamcast version of this game, which is slightly more shined up and polished. But that is Walt Disney World Magical Racing Tour, and it's phenomenal. There's two things I want to say that I don't like about the game. I don't like the fact that halfway through the single player campaign, you had Haunted Mansion comes to mind especially, and Jungle Cruise tracks were very difficult. There's a difficulty spike, and later on in this game especially, you have to know the tracks inside and out, know the shortcuts, and just be very good with the weapons. Talking about the weapons, my favourite weapon, and they didn't do this enough, but there's one standout weapon. You have your missiles, you have your like mines you drop like other kart racers, but in this game you had a teacup and you drop it, and if someone else drives on it, their car turns into a teacup, and it spins and it sways from left to right, and they've kind of got to counteract that for about 10-20 seconds. And I just thought that was so amazing, but I didn't really see any other weapons that were kind of exclusive like that, which was a shame. And in the one-player mode, it's quite a simple story, really. You're getting the fireworks pieces for the fireworks display at the Magic Kingdom. And the second thing that I did not like about this game was the fact, and you kind of need to know in case it's up high there on your list of priorities, but aside from Chip and Dale and Jiminy Cricket, there are no other A-list Disney characters playable in this game. It's all like I think most of them are made for the game, but there might be a few in there you might correct me on and tell me that they were put in the game from like a B-list movie or a B-list character. As I say, it's also on Dreamcast. There's a few other bits of charm in here as well. Like I said with Chicken Run, where the main menu was full of charm. The title screen on this was amazing. When I boot it up in 2020, and it kind of just flies down Main Street and up to the castle, and it makes you think, how they could have had a massively successful game if they'd done something like Disneyland Adventures on the PlayStation 1, even in those primitive graphics. It would have been brilliant. And another thing I want to mention before I move on to my next game is the course select screen is a map of all the different parks at Walt Disney World. Yes, it does cover some tracks in Epcot and some of the other parks, including the dinosaur ride. So you have to check that one out. That's brilliant. I think the price is still good. If you've got a Dreamcast, get it on the Dreamcast because it looks slightly more polished. And another thing, the cars and things and the vehicles change depending on what track you're on. So on the Jungle Cruise, it's all hovercrafts. The snow level, you have like snowmobiles. It's actually quite fun in that respect. But I'll move on to the next one. Staying with the slight Disney property, they kind of own this IP. And staying with the kart racing, it is a Muppet Race Mania. This game is immense. The amount of content in this game. The tracks are good. The tracks are all based off various Muppet movies of the time, including, and I love this, there are tracks based on Muppet Christmas Carol. And you going to go around the dark streets of London while it's snowing, and there's little side street shortcuts. But I just love that. But when it comes to the characters, there are so many characters in this game. I'll try and show you some of them now. And the way they're presented, like the old Muppet Show with the arches around them. And you can unlock all those through the one-player mode, but you can also unlock, which is another great feature of the time, you can unlock to switch the cars around. So say you like Animal, but you like how Kermit's car controls, right near the end of the game you can unlock the feature to just drive any car with any of the Muppets. And also I might give a short mention, I don't have a physical copy, I have it on my PS3, is Toy Story Racer, because the graphics on this remind me a lot, especially of the cars, of Toy Story Racer. And The only thing I want to mention about this game, it has like assault course almost, like mini assault course levels as well, where you're collecting things. And yeah, I mean, kart racing. If you like kart racing, you've got to pick up Muppet Race Mania. You've got to. It's an amazing game for what it is. I wasn't expecting much from that back when I bought that, but it is amazing. So I'll move on to the next one. This is another Muppet game, and I'll show you the gameplay. And if you're looking at the gameplay, you'll notice the first thing I noticed as well, that it seems very similar to Spyro the Dragon in its environments. This is Muppet Monster Adventure. I just love this game. You get different power-ups, you can turn into different sorts of monsters, but planning to become its nephew. But I like the fact, I don't think they can mention them by name for copyright issues, but I love the fact that the in the game, the various mainline Muppet characters actually take the mantle of various well-known monsters. And there's another picture on the back as well. This is the kind of game, I know, especially with me, if my friends were looking through my collection and I said, oh, would you want to play a PS1 game? And they saw Muppet Monster Adventure, and then they saw that picture, they'd be like, yeah, we're playing that, we've got to see that. But it's a very good game, and I'm so happy I've still got it with, again, the manual. I've got the manual for all these, I think. And yeah, it's just, I'm very, very happy. I mean, these are all hidden gems, but if you can check that out, check it out. It's an amazing, amazing game. So next we're going back to the racing games. This is Circuit Breakers, very similar to Micro Machines in a sense, but you do get quite a variety of cars on here. This is one of those things that feels, it's almost like a Micro Machines clone, but they kind of did it a bit better. And I wasn't a big fan of Micro Machines as soon as they got to the PlayStation, like V3 and that kind of thing, because they just added weapons, and I thought weapons wasn't what Micro Machines was about. So we've got Circuit Breakers there, which I feel like I'm overriding this video with racing games. But graphically, this game still holds up. It's still a great game to play, and you've kind of got almost licensed cars in there. And a good game, but we're staying with the racing games again. I think I will do a kart racing video at some point in the future, because I've got quite a lot of kart races for the PlayStation 1, which is quite surprising. But this was a game I didn't know about. Again, I think I got it during lockdown for quite a cheap price, but this is Nicktoons Racing. This is the game they should have remastered instead of making the recent Nickelodeon kart racing game, because this has all the kind of the characters I grew up with. So you've got you've got SpongeBob and Patrick in there, which this was near the start of their run, I suppose. But you've got Cat Dog, Rugrats, Hey Arnold, Wild Thornberrys, Angry Beavers, Ren and Stimpy. A lot of those characters in the new Nickelodeon racing game as well, but you know, it is what it is. It's a fairly basic kart racer, but the fact that Real Monsters as well was on there, but the fact that it's just the Nickelodeon license was just really cool. And it is on PC, but again, these old PC games, that's what I like about console. You know the console is made to play that game, whereas PC, you got to up the specs, and you can up the specs, but sometimes the old games, they no likey. So Nicktoons Racing, you've got to play that. And I've got one more here today in this small selection. This is a game I've got memories of watching a friend play a lot when I was a kid. And when CEX first opened a store in the town I live in now, I went there, and there were two games I bought the first time I ever went. I bought F-Zero for the Super Nintendo, and I bought this because I played it a little bit, but I just loved the game. And this is Sheep, Dog and Wolf for the PlayStation 1. This game, you play the wolf, who looks incredibly like Wile E. Coyote. And it's such a simple premise that gets so much harder as the levels go on. You're essentially got to steal the sheep. Well, the sheepdog, which is this big, you'll see in the gameplay footage, big like brute of a dog from the cartoons, and you've got to do it without him catching you. And some of the levels later on get absolutely insane. But I would recommend that. I'm not sure how rare that game is. I don't think it's very rare, because it's only like a few years ago. I got it about 4 or 5 years ago. But as I say, this was the first video just to get a bit in front of the camera, put a video on the channel. I'm going to have more discussion videos because I want to hear your opinions on these games. I want you to tell me in the comments if there's any hidden gems I've missed out on. If you've liked the video, give it a like. If you want to see more of this, subscribe. I try and, in the future, I'm going to try and do some game reviews and things of that nature. But I would love to hear the hidden gems that you know about, that you love playing, your PS1 memories. And maybe I'm going to discover some more games from you guys. But I will see you in the rear view, because for now I'm gone.